From Famke Janssen to Halle Berry. Take a look back at the women who went toe-to-toe with Brosnan's James Bond in the late 90s and early 2000s. With his sophisticated charisma and charm, Pierce Brosnan helped modernize the James Bond character. Before Daniel Craig became 007 in 2006, Brosnan portrayed the famous fictional British Secret Service agent in 4 films from 1995 to 2002. GoldenEye, 1995. Tomorrow Never Dies, 1997. The World Is Not Enough, 1999. And Die Another Day, 2002. Not only did the Irish actor take on the iconic role with characteristic panache, but he also tangled with plenty of the requisite Bond girls in the process. After all, what would the Bond film franchise be without love interests, sidekicks, and, of course, villainesses? One of those women was Halle Berry, who portrayed Jinx in Die Another Day. I was really excited about Bond because that's a franchise that's iconic, she told Vanity Fair in December 2021. It's a part of film history, really. So to be a part of that franchise was very meaningful to me. And this version of a Bond woman was very different than any Bond woman I had seen before. Berry isn't the only big name who starred as a Bond girl. Some of the biggest actresses in Hollywood either cut their teeth or burnished their stardom in Brosnan's 4007 flicks. From Famke Janssen's ruthless turn as a Russian assassin to Michelle Yeoh's tough take on a Chinese agent, here's a look at who the women played and where they are today. Already a successful model, actress, and pop singer in Europe, Isabella Scorupco made her Hollywood debut in GoldenEye, the first of Pierce Brosnan's Bond films. Described as the first computer geek Bond girl, the Polish-Swedish actress played Natalia Simonova, a Russian programmer who survives a deadly attack on the Serbian facility where she works. She later teams up with 007, gallivanting from Russia to Cuba as they try to stop the dastardly Janus crime syndicate from using the film's titular satellite weapon to wreak havoc. After the success of GoldenEye, Scorupco went on to appear in several American action and horror films, including 2000's Vertical Limit opposite Chris O'Donnell, 2002's Reign of Fire with Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale, and 2004's Exorcist, The Beginning. Her 2011 duet with Swedish singer Peter Jöback was her first foray into music since the early 90s. The following year, she dived back into the modeling world, hosting the first season of Sweden's Next Top Model. In 2023, Scorupco starred on the Netflix Swedish drama series Barracuda Queens and appeared in an ad for Swedish cosmetics retailer Kicks. Scorupco is a mom of 2. She shares daughter Julia with her first husband, Swedish hockey player Mariusz Sierkowski, and son Jacob with her second husband, Jeffrey Raymond. She married her third husband, Carl Rosengren, in October 2019. In July 2014, she shared on Instagram that she had become a U.S. citizen. Janssen's Russian assassin Xenia Onatop is a Bond villainess in the grand tradition, an alluring femme fatale with a cheekily suggestive name and a signature move of crushing her enemy's ribs between her thighs. All of that made her more than a match for 007 in GoldenEye. The Dutch actress and model went on to rack up an impressive number of supporting roles in the late 90s before landing the role for which she is perhaps best known, mutant psychic Jean Grey in the X-Men franchise. Janssen starred opposite Liam Neeson in the Taken film series, beginning in 2008. She also appeared in City of Industry, 1997, House on Haunted Hill, 1999, I Spy, 2002, Redeeming Love, 2022, and Locked In, 2023. There are conflicting reports on whether she will reprise her role as Jean Grey in Avengers. Doomsday, set to hit theaters in December 2026. However, Janssen has said Marvel didn't contact her to do so. On the small screen, Janssen starred on the Netflix horror series Hemlock Grove and Amsterdam Empire, and her character on NBC's The Blacklist had her own short-lived spin-off, The Blacklist: Redemption, in 2017. She also had memorable guest and recurring roles on hit TV series like Nip/Tuck and How to Get Away with Murder. Janssen was married to writer-director Todd Williams from 1989 to 2000. In Tomorrow Never Dies, Brosnan's second outing as 007, Bond is tasked with investigating Elliot Carver, Jonathan Pryce, a media baron aiming to provoke a war between China and the UK. That means seducing Paris Carver, Elliot's wife and Bond's ex, portrayed by Terry Hatcher. The Bond film was released a few months after her 4 seasons as Lois Lane on ABC's Lois and Clark. The New Adventures of Superman ended. Hatcher returned to ABC in 2004, starring on a hit primetime soap Desperate Housewives, which aired for 8 seasons and earned her 3 actor awards, aka Screen Actors Guild Awards, and a Golden Globe. The actress voiced animated characters in 2009's Coraline, Disney's Planes franchise, and Apple TV's Wanla series, as well as appeared in guest roles on the CW Superman series Smallville and Supergirl. She has since starred in several holiday TV movies, including the 2023 films Christmas at the Chalet and How to Fall in Love by Christmas. In 2024, she portrayed the titular character in The Killer Inside, the Ruth Finley story. Hatcher was married to fellow actor John Tenney from 1994 to 2003. They share one daughter, screenwriter and director Emerson Tenney. Having already established herself as a major action star in Hong Kong, Malaysia-born actress Yeoh reportedly wanted to perform all her own stunts as Colonel Wai Lin, a Chinese security agent who teams up with Bond in Tomorrow Never Dies. Director Roger Spottiswoode nixed that idea, but Yeoh still got to perform all her own fight scenes, leading Brosnan to describe her as a female Bond for the South China Morning Post. While Yeoh was offered many roles immediately following Tomorrow Never Dies, she told People in March 2023 that she didn't work for almost 2 years because she refused to play stereotypical characters. She next starred in Ang Lee's 2000 international blockbuster Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeoh went on to score roles in Rob Marshall's 2005 adaptation of Memoirs of a Geisha, Danny Boyle's sci-fi flick Sunshine 2007, and opposite Brendan Fraser, and Jet Li in 2008's The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Her star power has continued to rise, appearing on the first 3 seasons of Paramount Plus, Star Trek, Discovery, and in blockbuster films Crazy Rich Asians 2018, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings 2021, and Everything Everywhere All at Once 2022. Yeoh's performance in the latter mind-bending sci-fi dramedy earned her several awards, including an Oscar for Best Actress, making her the first actor of Asian descent, and only the second woman of color to ever win the award. She has lent her voice to several programs and films, including Ark, the animated series in 2022's Minions, The Rise of Gru, as well as starring on TV shows like American-Born Chinese and The Brother's Son. In 2023, Yeoh appeared in the big-screen adaptation of Agatha Christie's A Haunting in Venice. She followed that up with a massive 2024 film adaptation, Wicked, and its 2025 sequel, Wicked for Good, which reunited her with Crazy Rich Asians director John M. Chu. The actress has joined the cast of Amazon Prime Video's sequel series Blade Runner 2099, which is set to debut in 2027 per Deadline. Yeoh was engaged to former Ferrari CEO Jean Todt for 19 years before the pair tied the knot in July 2023. In his third Bond movie, The World Is Not Enough, Brosnan 007 is tasked with protecting Electra King, Sophie Marceau, the daughter of a British oil tycoon who was assassinated by a former KGB agent turned terrorist. However, as her name suggests, Electra has her own shadowy agenda. Before the French actress stepped into the role, she was already a star in Europe and had appeared in the Hollywood films Braveheart, 1995, and A Midsummer Night's Dream, 1999. Since her turn as a Bond girl, Marceau has worked primarily in her native France. In 2002, she directed her first feature film, Speak to Me of Love, and went on to direct 2 more French films, 2007's Trivial, La Despair Deauville, and 2018's Madame Mills. Marceau also starred in the 2026 comedy LOL 2.0. She's been described as the French people's favorite actress and is widely recognized in Asia for both her film performances and appearances in advertising campaigns. The English translation of her semi-autobiographical novel-telling, Lies, was published in 2001. In 2003, France's Ministry of Culture made her an officer in the Ordre des Arts et des Lettres in recognition of her contributions to the arts. Marceau has 2 children. She shares son Vincent Zalowski with Polish director Andrzej Zalowski and daughter Juliette Lemley, with American producer Jim Lemley. While Marceau was praised for her performance in The World Is Not Enough, Denise Richards took a critical drubbing as Dr. Christmas Jones, a nuclear physicist who teams up with Bond to defeat the film's villains. Richard began her career as a teen model before transitioning into acting with minor roles on Saved by the Bell, Married with Children, Beverly Hills, 90210, and Seinfeld. She gained even more fame after appearing in the 90s film Starship Troopers, 1997, Wild Things, 1998, and Drop Dead Gorgeous, 1999. Her 1994 low-budget horror comedy Tammy and the T-Rex has gone on to become a cult classic, while her work in the 2000s was primarily in B-movies. She was cast in a small role in the 2003 beloved holiday rom-com Love Actually. She later starred on the reality series Denise Richards. It's complicated and spoof her own image as a sex symbol on a 2012 episode of 30 Rock. Since then, Richard appeared on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills for seasons 9 and 10 and made several guest appearances after. She was also part of the cast of the CBS soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful from 2019 to 2022. The actress has reportedly filmed at least 3 seasons of Paper Empire opposite Wesley Snipes and Kelsey Grammer, but as of May 2026, the show has yet to air. Richards married Charlie Sheen in June 2002. The couple welcomed 2 children, daughters Sammy and Lola Rose, during their turbulent relationship, which ended in 2006. They are reportedly now on friendly terms, having appeared together in 2012's Medea's Witness Protection and on FX's Anger Management. Richards has a third daughter, Eloise, whom she adopted in 2011. In September 2018, she and her Dirty Hands co-star Aaron Pfeiffers went in an intimate Malibu ceremony. However, he filed for divorce after 6 years of marriage in July 2025. Before her breakthrough role as double agent Miranda Frost in Die Another Day, Brosnan's final Bond film, Rosamund Pike appeared on a handful of British TV series, including Love in a Cold Climate. She's gone on to win acclaim for her performances in several Academy Award-nominated films, including the 2005 adaptation of Pride and Prejudice and 2009's An Education. In 2014, she wowed audiences and critics in director David Fincher's film adaptation of Gillian Flynn's 2012 novel Gone Girl, earning Oscar and Golden Globe nominations for Best Actress. She won her first Golden Globe for 2021's I Care a Lot, and earned another nod in 2024 for her role in Emerald Fennell's 2023 film Salt Bin. In 2025, she starred in Hallow Road and Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Her small screen roles include playing Moiraine Damodred on Amazon Prime Video's fantasy series adaptation, The Wheel of Time for 3 seasons, and voicing Moomin Mama on the animated family drama Moomin Valley. She appeared on stage in London in the play Inter Alia in 2025, and then returned to big screen in 2020's In the Grey, opposite Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill. Pike was in a relationship with Joe Wright, her Pride and Prejudice director, but the couple broke off their engagement in 2008. She has been in a relationship with businessman Roby Uniacke, with whom she shares sons Solo and Adam, since 2009. With a formidable foe like Pike's Miranda Frost in the mix, it's a good thing Brosnan's Bond had Barry's NSA agent Jinx Johnson on his side in Die Another Day. I play the feminine James Bond, the actress said in an interview ahead of the film's release per Far Out magazine. She's the next step in the evolution of women in the Bond movies. She's more modern, more intelligent, and not the classic villain. A bona fide superstar in 2002, Barry had already risen to Hollywood's A-list with roles in comedies like Boomerang, 1992, B*A*P*S, 1997, and Bulworth, 1998, as well as dramatic turns in films like Jungle Fever, 1991, and Losing Isaiah, 1995. She won a Golden Globe and an Emmy for her starring role in 1999's Introducing Dorothy Dandridge, and sharpened her action movie skills as Storm in 4 X-Men films from 2000 to 2014. Barry's performance in 2001's Monsters Ball earned her an Academy Award for Best Actress, making her the first woman of color and the only black woman to win the award. She then hit a sour note with her starring role in the universally panned 2004 film Catwoman. She has since starred in several movies, including Things We Lost in the Fire, 2007, Frankie and Alice, 2010, Cloud Atlas, 2012, Kidnap, 2017, Kingsman, The Golden Circle, 2017, John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum, 2019, Bruised 2020 and Never Let Go 2024. In 2026, she joined Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo in Crime 101. She also starred on 2 seasons of CBS Extant from 2014 to 2015. The actress has kept an iconic item from her Bond days, Jinx's iconic orange bikini. She discussed how the look was chosen during her feature on Vogue's Life and Looks series in November 2021. We tried on so many bathing suits, so many bikinis, and so many belts, and this looks effortless. But this was a whole situation getting this little bathing suit right, choosing the color and the right fit, Berry recalled. We had a knowing that because it was in a Bond movie that it would end up being an iconic situation or something that would live a very, very long time. Berry was married to pro baseball player David Justice from 1993 to 1997 and musician, and actor Eric Benet from 2001 to 2005, a mom of 2. She shares daughter Nala Ariel with model Gabriel Aubry and son Maceo Robert with ex-husband Olivier Martinez. She has been in a relationship with musician Van Hunt since 2020.